Are you an established small business owner or aspiring entrepreneur? Would you like professional advice to help your business grow and succeed? Well, look no further. The Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center is the territory's #1 resource to move your business forward. Enjoy no-cost advising, low-cost training, and technical assistance from experts in both the public and private sectors. The VI SBDC is nationally accredited and sustained by the University of the Virgin Islands and the U.S. Small Business Administration. Visit us at our locations on St. Thomas, St. John, or St. Croix, and follow us on social media at VI SBDC. For easy access to all our training and networking events, be sure to join our newsletter and download the VI SBDC app. The Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center, here to help your business start, grow, and succeed.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We are thrilled to see so many entrepreneurs and business owners tuning in from across the territory. I want to thank you for carving out time today for what I believe is the most critical conversation any entrepreneur can have. They say that vision gets a business off the ground, but capital is the lifeblood that keeps it running and growing. Yet for many of our local innovators, the path to that capital feels like a maze. Today, we're here to hand you the map. We aren't just asking about abstract finance today. We are breaking down two very real, very accessible pillars of support that are specifically designed to empower USVI small businesses. My name is Sharika Industrious Phillips, and I am the Network Marketing Coordinator here at the VI SBDC. Here is our roadmap for the next hour. The Economic Development Bank. We'll dive into our local loan programs and specialized services that are tailor-made for the Virgin Islands commerce landscape. The State Small Business Credit Initiative, or known as SSBCI. We're going to pull back the curtain on this federal program, giving you a clear step-by-step roadmap on how to qualify and exactly how to apply. First, please welcome Monique Samuel, Managing Director of the Economic Development Bank, and joining her is Ms. Charmaine Brooks, Director of the State Small Business Credit Initiative. Here's a friendly reminder to place your questions in the chat, and they will be addressed by the presenting team either directly in the chat or later during our question and answer segment. We encourage you to take a few minutes of your time to briefly fill out today's survey. We're going to send it after this live session. This data is essential to us rendering these deliverables complimentary to you. So without further ado, Ms. Samuel, Ms. Brooks, and our USVI EDA team, thank you all for being here to share your expertise, and the floor is yours.
Good morning to everyone. Thank you, Ms. Industrious. Thank you to the SBDC, to our partner SBDC, for allowing us to share information primarily on the State Small Business Credit Initiative program with you, our listening audience, the attendees of this webinar. I would like to introduce or to acknowledge as well the members from the Economic Development Bank, Ms. Monique Samuel, our Managing Director, Ms. Kenesha Gums, our Loan Officer, and Mrs. Joanna Williams, our administrative personnel. So without any further ado, we will dive straight into the program. So first slide.
One second, we're having technical difficulties. One second.
Yes, and also, Sharika, if you could remove any AI recording other than the SBDC recording, please. I think there's a recording there that I could not have seen my screen, and so I believe it's by Joy. If you could remove the AI notes, it
No
will
problem.
record every other meeting that I have on Zoom moving
We've done
forward.
so.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, thank you. And so, as Ms. Industrious indicated, this webinar will feature the State Small Business Credit Initiative, an overview of the program and how you can benefit from this program. Next slide. So what is the State Small Business Credit Initiative 2.0? So the initiative was born as a result, first of all, in 2011, it was passed by Congress, and then again in 2021, through the American Rescue Plan Act, as a result of the COVID pandemic, Congress allocated approximately $10 billion to be distributed amongst the states, the District of Columbia, territories, and tribal governments. Due to the pandemic, there was a need to boost economic activity, and so this initiative was passed by Congress. The U.S. Department of the Treasury is the provider of the $10 billion through the program. The program is a loan guarantee program. It is not a grant or any type of financing tool. It is a loan guarantee program that the overall goal is to expand access to credit for small businesses. Basically, to allow businesses to have that chance or a better chance of gaining access to capital from a lender. So of that $10 billion, $57.86 million was awarded to the United States Virgin Islands, to our territory. And that program is being administered by the Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority, the Economic Development Bank. Under that program, four sub-programs were chosen: the Collateral Support Program, the Loan Participation Program, the Loan Guarantee Program, and the Payment Surety and Performance Bond Program. Next slide, please. So I will go in depth and explain the four programs to you, beginning with the Collateral Support Program. The Collateral Support Program is designed to fill the gap. Let me go back a bit, and I'll explain some things that we have further on in the slides up front so that you can have a full picture and gain full perspective. So with the Loan Guarantee Program, what happens is the lender is our partner in this program. So if you, the business owner, you have a financing need, you require a loan from a bank for your business, and you approach the bank for financing, this is how these four programs can assist the bank in coming to a favorable decision about approving your financing. Of course, you must meet all of the bank's criteria, except for what I am going to point out in these programs. So again, you will go to the bank. If there is a need for guarantee support, the bank will contact us. So I will explain now the 4 programs which will help you as a customer of the bank gain access to the financing that you need. So let's start with the collateral support program. This program is designed to fill the gap if there is a gap in collateral when you are requesting financing from a bank. I'll give an example. If, for example, your request from the bank is for $100,000, the bank requires that you have collateral in the amount of $80,000, for example. Or I'll use easier numbers, $50,000, for example. But your collateral, but what you can offer to the bank is a total of $25,000 in collateral. This is where the SSBCI program under the collateral support sub-program can assist you in meeting that $50,000. So let's go back to the $100,000. So your loan is for $100,000. And this program can allow for up to 80% of that $100,000 in collateral support. Up to 80%. So it will be up to $80,000. So if your gap, your shortfall is $25,000 that you need in order to meet the collateral requirement by the bank, assuming now that you have met all of the other bank's criteria, the bank will contact us and request the collateral support from us. And of course, it falls under this category. So, and under the parameters within the collateral support program, so we will be able to work with the bank in order for you and for the bank to approve your loan and to provide you with that financing. The next program is the loan participation program. While this program is seldomly used at this point in time, I will still explain it to you. And it's basically where and I'll use that same $100,000 example. $100,000, and the bank could request from us a purchase of a portion of that loan in order to eliminate some of the risks that the bank may perceive with your transaction to make them comfortable in providing the financing to you. Under this program, the maximum amount that we can participate is 30%. So your loan is $100,000. We can purchase up to 30% of that $100,000 using the SSBCI guarantee. You will receive $100,000 from the lender, and your payment to the lender will be based on $100,000. So if your payment to the lender, if your monthly payment to the lender is $100, for example, what happens is, because we've purchased 30%, the lender will apply 70% or $70 of that $100 to satisfy their loan, and they will pay EDA $30 or 30% because if we participated up to the maximum 30%, they'll provide us with $30 of that $100. Your communication, your transaction as the commercial business is strictly with the lender, and our interaction is strictly with the lender as well, not with you. The lender is our partner, and you as the commercial client is the lender's client. Next slide, please. The loan guarantee program. This again is to provide the lender with the comfort level, the added assurance that they need in order to approve your loan. So, for example, if you have met all of the lender's qualifying criteria, but for the fact, and this is one example, that you are new to that lender, but your request, your package, everything that you've presented falls within the bank's lending criteria. They've checked all the boxes. However, you are new to them, they can reach out to us as well for guarantee support to provide them with that added comfort to give you that to provide that final approval of your loan request. And that guarantee amount, under that program, we can provide up to 80% of the lender's loan. So if it's $100,000, we can provide a guarantee amount of up to 80% or $80,000. The Payment Surety and Performance Bond Program. This is the fourth program. I'll use an example to describe the program. And this is for contractors only. So if a contractor has secured a bond, let's say $1 million, a project for $1 million. And the project requires a bond of approximately 10%, which is $100,000. Having met all of the bonding agent's requirements, except for the collateral to secure the bond. If the contractor, say, has $50,000 when the bonding requirement calls for $100,000. Once a contractor has met all of the bonding agent's requirements or the bonding company's requirements, except for the fact that he or she does not have the full, $100,000, but he or she has $50,000. This program can provide SSBCI support under the Payment Surety and Performance Bond Program. This program allows for up to 80% of that 10%. So the 10%, remember we spoke about the 10% of $1 million, $100,000. We can provide up to 80% of that $100,000 or $80,000. So for the contractor who has only $50,000, this will fall into, the criteria, and we will be able to provide the difference of the remaining $50,000 to the bonding agent in order for the contractor to be able to secure the bond on the $1 million project. And this is performance bond only. Yes, for performance on performance bonds. Next slide, please. So what borrowers are eligible? And we just highlighted, the primary ones. Corporations, partnerships, limited liability companies, sole proprietors, independent contractors, and tribal enterprises. And the borrower must have fewer than 500 employees. Now, all loan requests must be for an eligible business purpose, which we will highlight the primary ones in the next slide. Next slide, please. Eligible business purposes. Some examples of eligible business purposes are to acquire and install fixed assets, acquire inventory, acquire land, construct new buildings, convert, expand, or renovate buildings. I will go back up to acquire land. You must have a plan to construct, or to utilize the land. It cannot be just for speculative reasons. So to convert, expand, or renovate buildings, to pay franchise fees, leasehold improvements, purchase any tangible or intangible asset except goodwill. An example of intangible asset, patents, for example. Purchase existing buildings, purchase supplies and raw materials, refinance outstanding debt for startup costs and for working capital. Next slide, please. Examples of ineligible business purposes are to acquire or hold passive investments in real estate. I alluded to that when I mentioned about, the purchase of land. It cannot be just for an investment, a passive investment. You must have plans, whether to construct, to farm, whatever your plan is, to develop that land. Ineligible business purposes continue, purchase of securities, finance businesses that earn more than half of its revenue from lending activities, finance businesses that engage in pyramid sales, finance businesses that engage in illegal activity, finance gambling enterprises, finance of dividends or other distributions, lobbying activities, to repay delinquent federal or jurisdiction income taxes, unless the borrower has a payment plan in place, repay taxes held in trust or escrow, reimburse funds owed to any owner. Next slide, please. Interest rates and program size or loan size requirements. So a lender can approve a loan of up to $20 million. And based on the circumstances, it can request our SSBCI support. The loan cannot exceed $20 million. And while we are allowed to provide SSBCI support up to 80%, each program portfolio, we cannot exceed an average of $5 million within each program portfolio. And the interest rate cap is based on the National Credit Union Administration's interest rate, and that rate is 18%, or it was 18% the last time we checked. And for the fees, the lender's upfront fees may not exceed 3%, and the same for the Economic Development Bank. That has the acronym there, EDB, economic. Okay. Next, please. So borrower restrictions. And the business will be the borrower. So each lender must obtain an assurance from the borrower, affirming that the borrower is not an executive officer, director, or principal shareholder of the lender, a member of the immediate family or of an executive officer, director, or principal shareholder of the lender. The borrower is not a related interest or immediate family member of such an executive officer, director, or principal shareholder of the lender. And the borrower is not a principal. Well, the borrower's owners have not been convicted of a sex crime against a minor based on the code that is registered, that you see there, 42 USC to 16911, subsection 16911. Next slide, please. Now, the lender has assurances as well under the initiative that they have to provide us. And when it comes to refinancing and new extensions of credit. So the lender, as it relates to financing of loan from another lender. So a lender may refinance loans previously made by another non-affiliated financial institution so long as the proceeds of the transactions are not used to finance a dividend or other distribution. So, and I'll use the banks, the local banks. If you, the business owner, if you have a loan currently with, I'll say, Banco Popular, and you approach, let's say, Merchants Commercial Bank to refinance that loan, the original purpose of the loan at Banco Popular should not have been to finance a dividend or other distribution. While merchants can provide you with the financing, you will have to qualify for that financing without the SSBCI guarantee because it is not allowed. The lender and the Economic Development Bank must make a determination that the transaction is beneficial to the borrower and the eligible business purpose of the new loan being generated, and in this example by Merchants Commercial Bank, is generally determined by the purpose of the underlying funding being financed. So, two things. We, meaning both the Economic Development Bank and the lender, must understand the original purpose of the loan, that is, the one that was received from Banco Popular, in order to determine, the purpose for the refinancing and the eligibility of it under the State Small Business Credit Initiative. for new extensions of credit by existing lenders. So this is basically if you are at Banco Popular, for example, and you request additional financing from Banco Popular. This is within the same bank. So the lender may use SSBCI funds to support a new extension of credit that repays the amount due on matured loan or other debt that was previously used for an eligible business purpose when all of the following conditions are met. 1, the amount of the new loan or other debt is at least 150% of the outstanding amount of the matured loan or other debt. And I'll use an example. If, for example, you have a line of credit, and I'll just stick with Banco Popular. You have a line of credit with Banco Popular, and let's say it's $100,000, and it has expired, it has matured, the time frame, 1 year, it has matured. This can be a line of credit, or let's just say a term loan with a longer amortization period. A term loan, a 1-year term loan with a 5-year amortization period. And that 1 year, the term has expired or the loan has matured. Banco Popular must be providing you with additional monies representing 150% of that $100,000. So I think that will come out to 150,000. If the math is not correct, you can correct me. But that is the gist of it. There must be new monies involved in the transaction. The new credit is based on a new underwriting of the small business's ability to repay the loan and the new approval by the lender. So yes, the lender must provide us, must provide us with its underwriting and its supporting documents. And the third, the prior loan or debt has been repaid as agreed, and the borrower was not in default of any financial covenants under the loan or debt for at least the previous 36 months or since origination if it is shorter. So basically, if that existing loan should have been in good standing, and the lender cannot approach us to provide security, the guarantee to secure a debt that has not been performing. And the last, proceeds of the transactions are not used to finance dividend or other distribution. I will also add that the proceeds cannot be used to reimburse an owner, and it cannot be used to pay back taxes. Next slide, please. Lender assurances. Just similarly to the borrower, the lender has to affirm these assurances, sorry. The SSBCI supported loan is not being made in order to place under the protection of the approved program prior debt that is not covered under the approved program, and that it is or was owed and that is or was owed by the borrower of the financial lender or to an affiliate of the financial institution lender. So it's basically saying that it's not used to, shore up collateral or, the prior debt, and that it is not, whether with the lender or an affiliate of the lender. If the SSBCI supported loan is a refinancing, that it complies with all SSBCI restrictions and requirements regarding financing and new extensions of credit, including that the SSBCI supported loan is not a refinancing of a loan previously made to the borrower by the lender or an affiliate of the lender. So again, it's the assurance similar to what we spoke about just a couple of slides ago. And that no principal, like the borrower as well, no principal of the financial institution has been convicted of a sex offense against a minor, and it is found, the full language can be read in Act 42 USC subsection 16911. Next, please. So the process. And earlier I told you that we would jump ahead so that you can have a better perspective or better appreciation for the information that we are sharing with you. Jump ahead in terms of informing you of the process. So the lender, so you, the client, will approach your lender of choice, and there are 5 banks in the Virgin Islands. Plus, I know Pentagon has just opened its doors, but that may be just for on the personal side, not sure. But 5 commercial banks are in the territory: Bank of St. Croix, Banco Popular, Merchants Commercial Bank, Oriental Bank, and First Bank. The 3 most active banks, the 3 banks that are utilizing the program the most, the 3 banks are Merchants Commercial Bank, First Bank, and Banco Popular. So you, the business owner, will approach the lender, one of the banks of your choice, with your financing package. The lender and us, the VI Economic Development Authority, Economic Development Bank, will engage in an initial discussion to determine if the transaction is eligible. So the lender would have received your request, have reviewed it, or would have had an initial, conversation with you, and you've provided some information. They have reviewed it, and from a very quick analysis, they determine that it is possibly one that would require the SSBCI guarantee support. The lender will engage in an initial conversation with us, and at that initial conversation, we determine if it's an eligible transaction. If the business is eligible and if it is for an eligible purpose. Once that is determined, the lender will submit to us release authorization forms, which would have been signed by the owners of the business on behalf of the business and for the owners themselves. So if My company is called 123 Inc. And there were 3 owners on 123 Inc. And 123 Inc. is also, say, going to be, and say 345 Inc., an affiliated business, is going to be a party to this transaction, but with the same owners. A release authorization form has to be completed for 123 Inc., 345 Inc., and if there are 4 owners, each owner has to sign a release authorization form. The release authorization form is basically giving the EDA the authorization to conduct background checks on the businesses and the owners of the business. Well, in this case, 2 businesses. And following that, while we conduct our background checks, the lender as well will be, going through the process, its underwriting process. And when that's completed, the lender will provide us with its approved underwriting memo and the supporting documents that they use to prepare their underwriting memo. VIEDA will review and present that transaction for decision. The decision-making process is made in one of 2 ways, either within an internal credit committee or at the board level. If the request from the lender for the SSBCI guarantee support is up to $100,000, that decision is made. Joanna, can you go back to? That decision is made by the internal credit committee. Joanna, can you go back? If the request from the lender is over $100,000, that has to be presented to the board. I will continue from my and once approved, the VIEDA, that's us, will issue a commitment letter to the lender, and along with the certifications, the SSBCI certifications, which are mandatory documents. And I will go through the certifications on the next page. If the transaction is declined, we will issue a decline letter or decline notice to the lender. So the next slide talks about the certifications. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are about 6 certifications and one privacy notice. And the certifications, for the most part, they're 1-pagers. And I think 2 of the certifications they have 2 or 3 pages, but it's a very small or minimal documentation. So one certification is called the SSBCI Borrower Use of Proceeds and Conflict of Interest certification. So on that form, that's the borrower, and you'll see just below that, that's one for the lender as well. So that form basically would ask you to certify if it's for, or that the proceeds of the loan will be used for an eligible purpose and that there is no conflict of interest. And third and fourth bullet points, the sex offender certification, we spoke about that earlier. And that is for both the lender and the borrower. The next bullet point relates to the business enterprises owned and controlled by socially and economically disadvantaged individuals. And similarly to the last bullet point, so those two are basically questions on those forms basically include women's owned, veterans owned, race, statistics that both we can use and that is mandated by the U.S. Department of the Treasury. And the second to last bullet point, that's the privacy notice. It's not a certificate, you do not have to certify that. It is just a notice for you. Next slide, please. How that goes. So the USVIEDA has certifications as well. So once the loan is approved, and it depends on which fund, which program is used, whether it's the collateral support, the loan guarantee, the loan or the loan participation, or the payment performance bond, the performance bond, whichever guarantee is required and has been approved, we will provide that guarantee agreement to the lender. That's the agreement between us, USVIEDA, Economic Development Bank, and the lender. And there is a publicity and photo video release form that you, the owner, will sign. That basically is the authorization, for us to, take photos and to, for publicity purposes. And of course, there is the environmental questionnaire form that you must complete for us as well. Next slide speaks to closing documents. So the lender is responsible for the closing. Again, we partner with the lender, and so the onus is on the lender to go through its normal process, its adjudication, its approval process, its closing process. We do not interfere with that process. All we do is provide the lender with the guarantee support, with the assurance, with the risk mitigating guarantee. Well, up to a certain point, of course, it's not 100%, as we mentioned before, with the comfort level that the lender needs in order to approve a loan. Again, you must meet the lender's qualifying criteria, except for what was mentioned earlier on. Whether the gap in collateral, you're new to the lender, but everything, you've checked all their boxes, the performance, bonding, etc. So for the closing documents, the lender will submit to us the SSBCI certifications, the USVIEDA certifications, and the agreement that we mentioned just in the slide before. any other documents outlined in our commitment letter. For example, if they had not submitted your business license, for example, during the process, we would have outlined that in our commitment letter to the lender. We would have outlined that it's required. And the third bullet point, the lender must submit all of its closing documents, closing collateral documents, including the commercial credit application that you would have completed initially when you visited the bank for financing. Next slide, please. Anyway, the next slide speaks to our technical assistance program. In many cases, business owners are not quite ready, or they require assistance to become bank ready. SSBCI, there is a technical assistance program under the SSBCI, and we have been awarded funds to provide that service to companies, businesses within the community that require that level of service to get them to the point where they become bank ready. So our contractor is called Small Business Consulting LLC. And I'm hoping that we can get the slide up. Their website is, there it is, USVI.SSBCI.com, or email address USVI@SBCFirst.com. The website, USVI@SSBCI.com. Email address, USVI@SBCFirst.com. Their purpose is to provide free business consulting services for new and established businesses. The services include, just get something else. The business needs assessment. That is basically, they'll provide a review to understand where your business needs support. Customized action plans. And they'll provide a clear step-by-step plan tailored to your business goals. Referrals to trusted resources, such as, attorneys, accountants, Department of Licensing. It depends on what your need is after they've done the assessment. Financial and accounting guidance. They help in organizing and understanding your business, helping you to understand your business finances. Loan readiness and application support. They provide that support for preparing for loans and financing opportunities. And of course, the educational workshops and cohort-based learning. There are practical workshops and group learning with other business owners. One workshop, the first workshop actually was held in March. So at the end of it all, the expectation is that the technical assistance services will be strategically targeted to small businesses likely to secure SSBCI funding within one, and SSBCI funding basically means the guarantee support to the lender within 1 to 3, within a 1 to 3 year time frame. These businesses will also demonstrate strong potential for success as a direct result of receiving the intensive, tailored technical assistance. And that begins again with the business needs assessment. Next slide, please. So here is our contact information. I am Charmaine Brooks, and Monique Samuel is the managing director. This is our contact information. St. Thomas's telephone number, office telephone number is 340-714-1700, and St. Croix's office number is 340-773-6499. Kenesha Gums, Joanna Williams, they are available as well. Now, when you contact our office, we will be able to share information with you about the program. We cannot, we're not going to analyze your business plan or anything like that. That is for the lender to do. So, if you wish to, learn more about the State Small Business Credit Initiative Program, call us and we will arrange a meeting. And the meetings are via teleconference or via Zoom or Teams with you if you would like to learn more about the program. Once you've submitted your package to a lender, we do not become involved in the lender's adjudication process or discussions with you. Our involvement is with the lender to provide the lender with the SSBCI guarantee as necessary. At this point, I would like to thank SBDC for accommodating us. Thank our team, our managing director, our loan officer, and our loan assistant for assisting. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you as well, the audience, for coming here and listening to us share this information with you. And with that, we're open for discussion.
All righty, thank you so much for that. If
Well,
you have a question,
I turn over to, yes.
if you have a question at this time, please raise your hand and then you'll be able to unmute and ask it directly. Otherwise, you can place it in the chat. I will be sure to get to it.
Hello, good afternoon, and thank you so much for the information. My name is Montez, and I have a farm and was interested in finding out more about your agency, but my specific question is if I am currently working with any other similar programs, is there allowed to be any overlap, or are they totally separate? Like if I'm working with SS, the rest of the acronym, does it have to be with that program alone? Could it be with another business development organization on island?
Okay, so if I understand your question, for us at the EDA, we can provide you with information on the program. It is not a direct lending or direct loan from us to you. For you to become a recipient of the SSBCI guarantee,
I'm
you
going
you,
through a lender.
you have to go through a lender.
Correct.
Now, the lender cannot commingle federal support. So, for example, if you're working with a lender for financing, the lender cannot utilize SSBCI plus SBA, for example, those two at the same time for the same transaction for the same purpose.
Exactly. And thank you so much for answering that.
Okay.
Okay, I do believe we have a few questions in the chat. So thank you for your presentation. For surety bonding, do you have recommended providers or local contacts who are familiar with how to support under this program?
No, the insurance companies should be in a position to provide you with the question relates to recommend a bonding company or an insurance company so to secure bonding. Is that the question?
For surety bonding, do you have recommended providers or local contacts who are familiar with how to support under this program?
With how to support under this program. Okay, so my understanding of the question is contacts for surety bonding. So what you'll have to do is reach out. We do not have any specific bonding agent or insurance company. So if you require that type of service, the lenders, they can have that third party discussion on your behalf, also the insurance companies as well.
Thank you for that. Two questions. To verify, this can only be used for local banks, and what is your approval rate?
The approval rate depends on our approval rate so far, all of what the lender has submitted, all of the transactions, the requests that the lender has, a lender or the lenders have submitted to us, have been approved. Keep in mind that we have that initial discussion with the lender to determine if it's an eligible transaction. If it is an eligible transaction and the lender approves the business owner's request for financing on the condition that the SSBCI guarantee will be provided. Up to this point, based on the requests from the lenders, we have approved all requests from the lenders. things that might, issues that may arise that will cause us not to approve a request. For example, if there is something, if something comes up with the background, um, if the business owner, it shows that there are taxes outstanding, and the lender, in speaking with you, the business owner, the lender is unable to, submit a payment plan to us on your behalf that, it shows that, yes, you owe taxes, but you're on the payment plan for at least 6 months and you've been paying as agreed. Um, that would be a reason for decline. That's an example for us to not be able to pursue. Or if it comes up that the owner, has been a sex offender, that would be another reason.
Okay. Thank you. I don't see any more questions at this time. With regards to surety bonding, I was sure to share the VISBDC's most recent hosting of our Surety Bonding 101 webinar. It was in collaboration with the SBA District Office. Our Senior Area Manager, Wayne Huddleston, delivered that webinar, and he also had someone who is proficient when it comes to surety bonding online. So that contact information is there. You can get access to Wayne and the person who was online by watching that webinar. And feel free to reach out to us for any further information with regards to that. So
Thank you, Ms. Industrious. Thank
you're
you.
most welcome. So just looking through, I see kudos to you for an excellent presentation. Thank you for your explanation on this subject. Um, Thank you. Thank you. Okay, any more questions at this time? You can raise your hand so you can unmute and ask directly, or you can continue to put them in the chat. Alrighty. We have persons saying thank you. Okay, so I guess it's safe to transition to the next slide so we can let everyone know how to contact the SBDC and what workshops and events we have coming up. Alrighty. So the VISPDC has so much more in store for us USVI small business community. You can visit our website at www.vispdc.org. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and subscribe to the VISPDC YouTube channel for uploads of our webinars. We encourage you to download our complimentary app from the appropriate app store. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen to help you navigate our website so that you can be able to see what we have to offer. So, I know we have a farmer online, so I do want to drive your attention to the Agriculture Business Center. So what you can do is when you go to our website, we want you to go under SBDC Services, go to the VI Agriculture Business Center, and you can begin to navigate so that you can make contact with our team. Their target population, as I mentioned before, are both farmers and fishers, so they can be able to help you navigate with your needs with regards to that.
Yes,
Now,
thank you. They're helping with paperwork now.
okay, awesome. That's good to know. Alrighty, so now I want to go to training and you would select events. And I want you to pay attention as to what we have to offer. So these are just three main areas that we decided to focus on for this quarter of our curriculum. So we do have regular business development webinars. We do have a few government contracted webinars that are now accessible from the VISPDC YouTube channel. And we actually have an in-person event coming up. It's going to be territory-wide, so it happens on St. Croix and on St. Thomas. It's going to be at the university's campus. So on St. Croix, it's going to be at the Great Hall. At St. Thomas, it's going to be at our 13D Innovation Center. It's an all-day event. We encourage you to come in person and get this experience. This is how you can sign up, but I'm going to show you by clicking here to the registration portal. This is how you can access all of our events. So if you missed a live session and you want to see something at your leisure, primarily after the live event, we convert it into a pre-recorded format. So when you go here, I want you to pay attention and make sure that you select all. You can select on demand. hit search, and the pre-recorded version would be here for you to go ahead and register and watch at your leisure. If it does not appear here, have no fear. It's going to already be on our YouTube channel. And you can always reach out to us if you need a copy of the presentation or you need to connect with the presenter. So how do you see what's to come? You select live, you hit search, and it takes you to what's coming. So tomorrow, as we continue April being Financial Literacy Month, we have Merchants Commercial Bank, and we have the VP, Kehani. He's going to be here presenting on Master in Business Finance, Loans, Banks, and Beyond. That webinar starts at 11 a.m. Atlantic Standard Time. On April 17th, we have our SBA District Office returning Senior Area Manager Wayne Huddleston. He's going to be presenting on SBA Federal Contracting Certifications. And then on April 21st, he wants everyone to be ahead of the hurricane season. So we're going to get our businesses prepped with business resiliency as disaster preparedness. And then to close off Financial Literacy Month, we have VISBDC advisor, Mr. Daryl Edwards. He is going to be talking to you about a blueprint for success, a practical guide to writing a business plan. Then we go to our in-person government contracting events, our Agriculture Business Center on May 6th. They have Helping Farmers and Fishers Thrive, our Community Impact Fund. So that's a session that they'll be having. This is how you register. And then we have webinars coming up with regards to marketing, disaster prep. And then we have an introductory webinar to our local SCORE chapter. So that's what's to come. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to go over here, see if we have any more questions. We don't at this time. So I want to say thank you to our USVI EDA team for being here to render us this presentation so that our small business owners are aware of what they have to offer. I don't see any more questions. So once again, it's always a pleasure to work with you and your team on this initiative. And we thank everyone for their time and attendance. So on behalf of the entire VISBDC network, compliments of our State Director, Karen Jones, thank you for being here, and we wish you a productive rest of the day. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.